The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it, Friday editions here. It's Hail Varsity Radio. We're powered by Cornhead Lager, and I think that's Gronkowski in the front of the boat with us here. We are somewhere between 17, 18. What hole is that? Actually,
I know that's 17.
Water carries sound, and we're getting stared at by the professionals. Anywho, we're on a boat for a live road show today. If you're at the Pinnacle Bank Championship at Indian Creek, we invite you out. We are on the pond. I have donated, many golf balls here from time to time over the years.
You don't play here.
I have played here, Elijah, and the one or two times I did play here, it was hell on my supply. Good to be with you on a Friday edition, 489-1240. I'm getting filmed here by some awesome folks that are transplant Nebraska fans. Julie, Kathy, Jill, they're in the back of the boat with us. They're waving at us. What's your name, sir, as I get filmed?
I'm Cody.
Cody, good to see you. Appreciate it. And, so get on the boat ride here at Pinnacle Bank Championship. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. Loaded show we'll get to. Will Wilson is back in studio, sadly, but I think he's got a bucket of beer. Is that true, Will?
After I get done moving.
After you get done moving.
Well, for your hard work, I'm not sure if you found these. I did leave some Topgolf vouchers in there for you.
They're expired.
Did you find those?
I don't see those anywhere.
Somebody else must have swiped those. I left 2 Topgolf vouchers in there for you because I thought you'd like it.
Yeah, you left him Topgolf vouchers?
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
I thought that was a good idea. I left them. And apparently somebody has gone into the studio and swiped them since last night.
That is glorious.
Cool.
There's 4 people that work in the building, and 3 of them are talking right now.
We can just check and see who posts on their Instagram story them at Topgolf in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, who wants to go to Topgolf? Always watch the show, like and subscribe to Hail Varsity Radio YouTube. The show is on YouTube 4 to 6 Monday through Friday. Weekend edition tomorrow at 7:45. Catch us there. Hail Varsity Radio Twitter. Can watch the show that way. Podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. Plenty of recruiting to get into. A flip from Oregon to Nebraska. We will get into that. Not a big surprise. There's smoke around Mr. Sanders, the 5-star offensive tackle. It was an open practice today for Nebraska, the first few minutes anyway. And Coach McGuire and Coach Barthel talking to the media. Some thoughts there. Brian Christopherson with Husker 24/7 Sports going to be with us in about 10 minutes in hour 2. The Pride of Fairbury. Bill Doleman joins us, and then he's imaginary. He wears red. Clausburn will join us. He has some commentary on the week that has been. So we are at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. I'm excited to talk this into existence, George Costanza style. It's not a lie if you believe it. We believed we could get on a boat a year ago at this time, hunkered down in the perch we had between 17 and 18 at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Sasha and the crew made it happen. We are on a boat. Boat rides are here. They are happening. You need to get out. There's boat drinks in honor of Jimmy Buffett, and everyone's cheersing right now.
Those things look way too full. Way too full.
They're going to be pounding boat drinks here and enjoying yourself at the Pinnacle Bank Championships. Yesterday.
Oh, also, Schmidt, before we forget, a tip of the cap to Captain Kyle as well for bringing us out here.
Captain Kyle he didn't even make us put on a life jacket. I love it. He did ask me to hold the anchor and see how far out I can go, which is all right. But no, boat drinks. Jimmy Buffett. We're big fans of the late great Mike Leach. So. Little pirate radio today for a Friday.
Wait, we should do this every day.
I think so.
You and me, we could go in on a boat together.
Right, because that's always a sound investment.
Take it out on Holmes Lake.
Right. We can catch 7-eyed fish like my grandfather used to do at Holmes Lake in Lincoln.
All while doing a radio show.
Did you bring your dynamite if we're fishing?
No.
You want to talk about screwing up somebody's putt?
In the backswing, just and matey into the lake.
Boom. Boom. All right, let's get to the starting five, our shout-outs in the stream.
Eat Beef says, take your shirts off, bros. Let it all out.
Brother, I have C cups. I am not taking my shirt off, all right? Can't do it. I can't do that. The other Dave is in. He says, let's go. Coach Arlo is in as well. The one of the founders of the Boulder Peace Treaty, Jeff Snitley, checks in. Jeff is here in the stream as well. And good to have all of those folks. Let's keep scrolling down.
Did you miss Brennan?
Yeah, I did. There we go. Black Hills Brennan from South Dakota is in. We have Mark in. Cliff from Florida. He made it. He broke out of jail to make sure he got to the show. Justin is here. Uncle Jimmy checks in. 3-Putt is in. Tuck, good to have you, my friend. And I think they would frown upon no shirts at this golf course. They would absolutely frown on no shirts at this golf course during professional golf.
Yeah, I had a friend who was fired from a golf course for going swimming. And the golf course shall remain nameless, but he went swimming after his shift one day and
really
got canned. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Shockingly sober.
No, he was just hot.
He was just the end of a long shift in the summertime, and he thought he would go swimming.
Okay.
And yeah, they did not like that at that golf establishment.
It's better than bathing at midnight or after last call in one of the many fountains in Lincoln that happened 3 weeks ago.
Well, the benefit of going swimming at a golf course like this is you can grab some lost golf balls while you're down there.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can also...
With golf ball prices
I don't
nowadays.
see any of that toxic algae here. That's great. A lot of the other golf courses, you put your hand in, you lose it.
Really?
The toxic algae?
I didn't know that was a thing.
It is a thing, right?
Well, I know toxic algae is a thing. I didn't know it was a thing at golf courses.
Well, you just don't want to ever dance with it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but not at the Pinnacle Bank Championship, top-of-the-line golf course.
This is clean. We need some fishing poles. We have boat drinks here. This is outstanding. We'll get more of your shout-outs going as we will get into some recruiting. Let's talk some football. Will, any do's and don'ts for us on the boat? Should we hit post time at 5 with a boat drink? Do what the patrons of the boat here, the boat ride at Pinnacle Bank Championship between 17 and 18 are doing right now. And we've got some light beer. We should have brought a bunch of Cornhead lagers, what we should have done.
Are we allowed to bring alcohol?
Oh, another no-no. You need to keep your shirt on and can't bring your own booze when it comes to the golf.
They didn't check my backpack that tightly. I think I could have hidden a few in there.
This damn walking boot, I could sneak 7 flasks in here, I do believe.
Well, that's a golf course tradition like no other. Sneaking a couple in. Yeah, no outside alcoholic beverages.
3-Putt says stop moving. I think it's a pretty steady camera. We were able to finagle a table up here.
It's the spinning of the boat maybe with the light that hits us in different ways.
I think so. Let's get into some football here.
Please.
And honestly, if you're heading this way, and you're coming in for the latter part here of Friday's Pinnacle Bank Championship second round, take time out with the family, with the kids, with the loved ones, with the gal or guy, and jump on the boat. Do the boat ride. It's really relaxing. The breeze is incredible. It's 74. It's sunny. It is a refresher. Tomorrow, if you're here Saturday, do the boat ride. Sunday, Championship Sunday, yes, do the boat ride. Nebraska is smiling right now. They were able to get Oregon wide receiver Isaiah Mozee to flip his commitment from Oregon to Nebraska. Now, it helps that the dad's on staff, but needless to say, Nebraska getting a high-level talent at wide receiver for part of the 2025 recruiting class. Sounds like there's some positive momentum. Really good story yesterday by our dear friend Evan Bland from the Omaha World Herald on Christian Jones. His recruitment sounds like he's ready to maybe start making some decisions between Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Auburn. And you're still in this discussion point. It isn't August 17th yet for David Sanders, the all-world offensive tackle from Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, there was some smoke that Tennessee and their NIL. Let's talk about the investment people in Tennessee. Big tobacco, Jack Daniels, and then country music. Mm-hmm. Okay? Bang, bang, bang. Son, do you want to play left tackle for Rocky Top? Sure, why not? Oh, well, that's not a done deal. Nebraska's still in this race, but it sounds like the largest NIL offer could be forthcoming from Tennessee to David Sanders.
Well, and for as much as we've talked about just the NIL arms race that some of these recruitments have become here for Nebraska, David Sanders Jr. wasn't necessarily expected to be some. We talked with Tim on Monday about how Ohio State was preparing a large offer. Yes, Ohio State preparing a large offer considering their offensive line coach is kind of feeling the heat this year. He wants to lock up a 5-star recruit. They start preparing a large offer. Now you hear Tennessee is preparing a large offer, a historic offer for their program. Does Nebraska have a response to that? I think that's kind of the question.
It's Warren Buffett.
Do you get him on the line?
You absolutely call Uncle Warren.
Does Matt Rule have the bat phone in his office for Uncle Warren?
Uncle Warren, for the first time, it's not that you haven't given to the business college or done great philanthropy in your life. You have, good sir. But how about a little love for the football program?
He gave a lot of love to Ndamukong Suh back in the day.
He should have. I mean, Ndamukong Suh absolutely sat down with Uncle Warren and, son, here's where some of your multi-million should go, that $20 million signing bonus.
But to get back to Mozee here
yes.
for just a second, love the pickup for Nebraska. It feels a little less excited today because it, I think, has been...
You're waiting when, not if.
Yeah, when, not if the flip was going to happen. Nebraska, I think, picks up not only a high-level football player, but also a high-level football coach in the Mozee sweepstakes as a whole. But specifically looking here at Isaiah, a guy that's going to play the wide receiver position, I really like just the flexibility he provides. Not a one-trick pony, if you will, from the wide receiver position. He's not the type of guy that is just going to burn you deep. I love the range of routes that he runs, the multitude of ways they get him the ball in high school. And once he gets the ball in his hands, he's one of those guys that is a dangerous threat after the catch because he's got a low center of mass, hard to knock down, and just one of those guys where three guys have the angle on him. He bounces off one, beats another, and he's gone.
Slippery.
Yes.
Guy can take the top off, get you beat deep, and then in that short game, the quick game, you can throw a 2-yard, 3-yard little hitch to him, 5-yard hitch to him, and he can shake and bake and get a lot of yak yards for you. It's also the 500-mile radius discussion point. You get another kid from the Kansas City area, which you want, you need. It's kind of your lifeblood if you're Nebraska. More kids are going to stay. Kids are staying anyway under Matt Rule, but you're going to have the opportunity to keep cleaning up within 500 miles. That's the goal if you're Nebraska. Get kids in state, get kids within that 500-mile radius, and they're less likely to, farther away from home, the harder a lot of times it is to keep them.
My question to you, Schmidt, is does this become a tactic now? It's something we talked about on our other show, the Average Joe Sports Show. Do teams start hiring dads, hiring high school coaches to get some favor? It's been going on for years.
Illinois absolutely raided St. Louis high school football. Mm-hmm. And it's been going on in college basketball all the way back before the Danny Manning era.
Well, you think back to
Danny Manning's dad ended up on KU's staff.
Memphis hiring
an accident.
Memphis hiring Penny Hardaway because he had a 5-star basketball player living in his basement. That happened.
I was dreaming someday I'd have a 5-star athlete living in my basement, but Junior is retired from baseball.
Unfortunately, your son is related to you.
He is. He's also related to his mother, which means he is doing well academically.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean he's got his mama's smarts, and that's and looks a lot like her. So that's a 2 for 2 for him. So for nothing for me, just a sense of humor and a work ethic.
Important.
Yeah,
important.
Absolutely.
Don't sell yourself short.
His gambling adventures, though.
Alleged. I believe he's still 17.
We're gonna blame that. We're gonna blame that on Uncle Mark, who's actually we're gonna try and check in with my brother. He is supposed to be at Yankee Stadium. Hurricane Debbie has given us the middle finger on that. So I pray he is somewhere in the Bronx right now at a bar playing darts. We're going to try and check in with him. We checked in with him last year at the World Series. Brian Christopherson is coming up as well. Next segment here in a couple of minutes, we'll talk to BC, what he saw, what he liked today with Nebraska's open session with practice this morning. More thoughts from him on the offensive line. The recruiting world is happening. We'll get to your emails. You can email the show, chris@halevarsity.com. You can also tweet into us and tell us what your best adventure ever has been on a boat. Do you own a boat? And have you ever had to evacuate a boat? I'm not trying to jinx anything here. This captain's looking at me like, you shut your damn mouth.
Don't put that out there. Don't put that out there.
Last time I was on a boat, it was in the Gulf of Ireland. Ireland's Eye. That was Captain Ted. Captain says, y'all want to go on the boat? I'm like, sure. Well, it was a mini yacht. This is with Cranak. And the mini yacht ended up taking on water halfway out to Ireland's Eye. The good news is we were able to get legit fresh seafood right on the banks from the oyster stand, and then have a cocktail at a lighthouse. It was incredible.
That beats my last time on a boat. My last time on a boat, I was 3, maybe 4 beers deep on the 5th of July, and I check my phone, and oh my God, Evan Cooper has resigned. And I'm sitting on a boat trying to figure out what the hell happened there. Well, so that was the last time I was on a boat. So maybe we'll get some more breaking news in today.
I pray no. No Friday news dump, no breaking news. Just grab a drink and find your way here to the Pinnacle Bank Championship and join us for a relaxing boat ride and incredible golf. The gallery has been super thick today. They have been following all the Gucheskis as they've had a day, and we'll check in more on some Nebraska football. It's the Prestige Worldwide Tribute Hail Varsity Road Show Boat Show. We're powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you at Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager, Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, and Will Wilson. We are, what hole is that? We're on the boat ride?
I still have not figured out what hole that is. I'm just going to say 14.
All right, we're going to say 14, and we are...
Oh, wait, no, it says... I can't... Have you gotten your eyes checked recently? I can't read that sign.
My eyes are garbage.
Can you read that sign over there? I can't.
Julie, Kathy, and Jill want us to give them another shout-out as they fist pump, as they have promised boat drinks. We are easy for bribery. We welcome in Mr. Nebraska Football with 24/7 Sports, Huskers 24/7, Brian Christopherson with us. And BC, we are out here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. There is we'll say a little pond between 17 and 18. There's a boat on said pond, my friend, and we're doing a show in true Jimmy Buffett style today from a boat. How are you doing?
There's 2 idiots on that boat.
Just 2. BC, what's good, bud?
It sounds like it's way better for you than me. I'll tell you that much. Your day can only be brought down by having a conversation with this fellow, but I'm happy to kind of partake in what you're experiencing from afar. I can kind of feel it from the phone, so that's good. Our dear friends, our new best friends from Iowa, are headed to the Patron Zone. Apparently,
sure, we'll do one. We're being offered.
I'll pass. I'll pass, but Schmitty.
Sure.
Schmitty, have 2.
You want me to have 2? Okay, BC. Let's get into football. What'd you see this morning? What stuck out with open practice, bud?
I mean, the first thing I was drawn to, I guess, was the offensive line after the Teddy Prohaska injury. So you're kind of looking at, okay, what's that tackle situation shaping up as? Feels like a big storyline right now. Turner Corcoran, it seemed like was a little bit limited today. So you had, young Gunnar Gatula out there at left tackle, and you had walk-on Grant Seagren was getting some reps with the 2s. So that's sort of one of those stories you're going to kind of have to hyper-focus on, I think, for the rest of this August to see how that pans out. Obviously, the rest of the O-line has a lot of experience on it, and there's high hopes there, but that's an interesting piece. And then, it was good to see Bly Hill back on the field, even though he was in the yellow jersey today. The fact that he can ramp up and have some time in that competition to make a move is pretty important, I think, as opposed to if he had actually had to come back 3 weeks into the season and play catch-up then. I don't think that would have been very easy. So that part sort of stuck out to me. And then the wide receivers, we talked with Garrett McGuire today, and, I mean, it's just night and day when you kind of think about our conversations about that position group a year ago at this time. And basically it was all about how at that point it's man, they're going to need 2 or 3 of these freshmen to step up who haven't ever played college football before. And now you look out on the field, and a couple of those freshmen like Jalen Lloyd and Malachi Coleman have a year of growth in them, and then you got Nair and Banks who just look like dudes. So that wide receiver position, honestly, when you're just like walking around the field, it's the one your eye is kind of drawn to as impressive as any position group they have, really.
It's Brian Christopherson with us here on Hail Varsity Radio, talking thoughts from Nebraska's practice this morning. And BC, one of the things we discussed plenty this summer was the opposite corner spot, and I mean opposite Tommy Hill. Who's going to play in that position? I think for most of June into July, especially with the Evan Cooper news, that was the biggest question mark headed into fall camp. Do you think that still holds true, that being the biggest question mark? Do you look at the left tackle spot now with 3 weeks until the first game? What do you think is the biggest question mark with this team in fall camp?
I think it's left tackle as of today. I mean, I think the Prohaska injury reminded us that as much as we can talk about a certain position having depth in like March and April, and it's easy to say that then, all it takes is for one guy to go down with an injury who's pretty significant, and then you start to look at the chain reaction. You're like, oh, I hope this next guy can stay available the whole season, because what if he goes down? Then what does it look like? So, I think a lot is riding on a guy like Turner Corcoran, who's a veteran, being able to step up and being fully available this year. Otherwise, you're talking about a really young player, perhaps, at a very tough position. So I put that at the top of the list as of watching the practice today. As for the other corner spot, I don't feel that bad about it. I think Jeremiah Charles is an interesting guy that could be in the mix there. And then Marquise Buford is so versatile. I think they could put him out there too if you wanted on the other side of Tommy. And then, of course, you'd have Hartzog, Singleton, and Gifford as sort of the middle of your secondary. So I think they've got enough bodies and enough high ceiling guys there, I should say, that I feel okay about that particular spot.
Brian Christopherson's with us, Hail Varsity Radio, the Boat Show edition, live from the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Glorious Friday, just amazing weather out here, and we are nestled here at the dock between 17 and 18, right near the Hurrdat Sports Pavilion, a stone's throw from the Patron Zone, and the galleries are following some of their favorite heroes, a lot of local flavor golf-wise here from the great state of Nebraska. BC talking some Big Red with us here. And Brian, thank you for the info on the tackle and some of the sights and sounds earlier. Let's go into Garrett McGuire and heard a little bit of what he had to say. How big has been this competition? Not only the old guys, but just that kind of that culture and those options as you see it at wide receiver for Nebraska as they head into a really potentially fun season.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of different they come in a lot of different sizes and skill sets, which is what makes it kind of interesting and I think exciting. Like, Janarian Bonner was up front today, and he's a guy who everybody kind of talks over, but it feels like they are really accentuating his strengths now. He's a really physical guy, I think, who's going to be a good blocker on the perimeter for him. And, he's often out there with Nair and Jamal Banks with the first-team unit. So Janarian Bonner is going to be really important. Isaiah Nair, to me, though, I know Banks, for good reason, has been talked about all offseason. But Nair is almost the guy I'm most excited to see what he can do, because you look back to his year at Wyoming before he went to Texas and had the ACL injury. This guy's averaging like 20 yards per catch, just taking the top off of defenses. And when you watch him move out there, he's just got that sort of extra gear in his step that's really impressive. So I think Nair is going to be a guy who's going to be very important. And then, of course, there's the Carter Nelson storyline. It just feels like it's going to be too hard to keep him off the field. He's just got too much athleticism and freak size, combined. So I think they're really excited to just, line him up correctly, let that kid go, and you can get some stuff done with him, too.
BC, let's talk a little bit about something that's been MIA from the Nebraska passing game for a long time. How do you feel potentially about Nebraska's screen game on offense?
Yeah, I think that's going to be much improved. And when you think about the struggles of Nebraska's passing game in recent years, you also think of like quarterbacks not hitting layups, basically, right? Like some of this stuff in the past. I mean, some of the passing game stuff. It's like if you give that puts a throw on a money to the guy on the move, which should be a simple throw. At least you give yourself a chance to set it up and maybe make a short pass into an explosive play. But it's always looked so disjointed and like it was way harder than it needed to be. When you watch Raiola kind of perform that with the guys, that's one of the most impressive things about the young guy is he's making those simple plays sort of look routine whenever we get to see him. And you're hoping that kind of transitions into the season because he does have some weapons on the perimeter who should be able to take those short passes and then turn it into, I think some 10, 15-yard gains on some of those plays.
Brian, before we get to the Isaiah Mozee news of the day, I want to quickly get your thoughts on a discussion we had yesterday. How many 500-yard receivers do you think Nebraska has if their offense is healthy in 2024?
That's a good question. What's the over-under number you guys had?
We were waiting for your answer.
Let's put it at 3.5 500-yard receivers.
I think you could have close. I think you could have close to 1,000 and a couple 500, don't you think?
I think it's possible. I think it's going to be tough for someone to get to 1,000 because I think they're going to spread it around so much. And I don't even think it's a big deal necessarily. Like, let's say Jamal Banks or Nayor has, 870. Or let's say you get 870 from one of those guys, and then the next guy has 680. I think 3.5 is a great number is the more I think about it. I would say 4 would be my answer. I don't know if we're counting Thomas Fidone in there, but I really think Thomas Fidone is going to threaten that 500-yard mark. And I think part of it's the improved quarterback play, but also the other weapons that I think are going to spread defenses out a little bit and open up the middle of the field. So I would say I would go over 3.5 just barely and say 4.
Brian Christopherson's with us, Hail Varsity Radio, Husker 24/7 Sports. BC, what do you think of the Mozee flip? It's not a matter of really if but when, but pretty big pickup for Nebraska.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, he's a 4-star guy. Oregon really loved when they had him. And I know for a fact he was one of those guys that, even before his dad came on staff, Garrett McGuire and those coaches, they really wanted him. And they tried every time to get him on campus. And he made a few trips. And I think he was really interested in Nebraska even before his dad joined the staff. And Nebraska was probably, in his top 3 or so. And so now... you're right. It was kind of not a surprise at this point. You kind of you connected the dots that it would happen. But this is obviously a big win for Nebraska in that Kansas City area after they got Keelan Smith out of there last cycle. And I think Keelan Smith, by the way, looks pretty good as a true freshman over there. So the more and more you can do this, and of course with the Jamar Mozee connection to that area, I suspect Nebraska is going to be able to get into KC in that way, which recruitniks have sort of been hoping for, but it hasn't really materialized the last few years. So he's obviously a very talented prospect, but there's all these attaching points to it that are beneficial to Nebraska as well.
Brian, the last time you were on a boat?
Last time I was on a boat?
Yes.
About a month ago. My family has a cabin up in Minnesota, so I go fishing every summer. But last time I was on a boat in the middle of a golf course is never, so you've got me beat there.
You had some incredible fishing, I would suspect, in Minnesota. Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. BC, we really appreciate you. Keep up the amazing work. We'll holler again. Thanks for joining us today, bud.
Yeah, have fun, not too much fun, if you know what I mean there. But sounds like you guys are off to a good start.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you at Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. We are in the pond, literally, on the glorious boat ride here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. We're between 14 and 18 And Uncle Mark was supposed to be at a Yankees game today. We have him titled in the stream, if you want to watch, on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel as Corey Seager. Just play that off wearing your Rangers hat. Uncle Mark, last time we talked and you did a show appearance, it was the World Series. You were supposed to be at a Yankees game. You've been to Monument Park in New York. What part of New York are you in, Uncle Mark? Thanks for joining us.
We are at 37th and 7th Avenue, right in the heart of New York City, baby. We are living it up. So it happened to be that we were watching some BP during our tour today, and although Davis scored a ball from Anthony Rizzo, so that was a victory.
Okay, nephew Davis, that's awesome.
And then the little twerp, we get rained out tonight. Well, tomorrow is a double header with single entry. So now the kid gets to watch 2 games.
It's not too bad.
How's his college fund feel about that?
Well, I got a 2-for-1 special, so I guess I feel pretty good.
I love it. Uncle Mark Schmidt with us live in Manhattan. Are you in the Bronx? Have you gone to Spark Steakhouse? I mean, what are the sights and sounds you've seen here as you walk along? Has Don Draper said hello to you yet?
Not yet. We're looking for him. We made it to the Bronx twice already. We went up last night and sat in the rain while they got beat by the Angels. We're going to head to Broadway tonight for the Back to the Future show.
Oh, cool.
That'll be pretty sweet. We had to negotiate with Davis. If he gets 3 ball games, he's got to sit through a Broadway show. So we won that battle. It's going to be a good time, man. We've kind of seen it all. Tried to negotiate for some fake roll. So we're calling the lookout for that.
So what were they charging you for fake Rolexes? What did they want?
He wanted $120 per. No.
All right, you're cutting out, Uncle Mark. Back up. All right, Uncle Mark, I need you. Hold on a sec, Uncle Mark. All right, we lost him. All right, can you stop walking for 2 seconds, Uncle Mark, for me?
Yeah.
Okay. You cut out at 120. If someone's mugging you, I'll warn you from behind. But
no, I'm good.
Keep your back to a wall. Yeah, very smart.
Yes.
No, flip back around.
No, 120 was the negotiating point for the fake Rolex. Did you try and get some fake Oakleys as well to sell your baseball team?
I haven't seen the Oakleys yet. We tried to get that Louis Vuitton or Gucci wallet. They weren't trying to deal on that yet either. So we're still looking for the right guy.
All right.
Now, have you received a proper New York welcome to? I'm waiting for it in this stream to hear the classic. Hey, I'm walking here.
Have you been hollered at or F-bombed?
I lost you.
Now we got you. Have you been yelled at or F-bombed yet?
We saw a homeless guy on meth that was throwing the F-bomb to somebody.
All right. Well,
on the phone, so that was very New York.
Okay.
How'd you know he was on meth?
Yeah, you could just tell, When you know, you know.
Uncle Mark is with us live in New York City for the Yankees and Angels. And the sad news is Hurricane Debbie rained out, caused a cancellation today. We were going to have Uncle Mark. Where are your seats supposed to be at? Right now, just to paint a quick picture, it looks like the end scene here of Captain America. My brother's walking around downtown Manhattan.
Yeah, so we were Yankees Rangers tonight and tomorrow.
Okay.
We were going to be right field bleachers tonight for the roll call, but that got banged. So tomorrow we're, due to the 2-for-1 special, we're going to be a few rows behind the Yankee dugout. So we're gonna upgrade a little bit and take advantage of 18 innings. Now we do have a boat cruise tour tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So we're going to miss first pitch at 1, but we're going to get back for innings 2 through 18, I think.
I like it. Mark Schmidt, Ferris Financial, if you're interested. Gotta love it. And I will end with this. Monument Park. How cool was it? How surreal was it to see Joe Papa's favorite guy, Mickey Mantle's section in history?
Yeah, Monument Park was really cool. We also got to see the Yankee Museum, and they had 870 signed baseballs by Yankee legends or Yankee no-namers. They kind of rotate them out, they said. But, when you can see Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth, Mariano Rivera, Jeter, autographed ball all in the same place with a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle card. I mean, there was some history in there that was pretty legit. It kind of makes you stop and take a peek. So that was pretty cool.
Before we get you out here, I need a shoe report from Mark in New York. Do you have your brother beat? He's in the walking boot. Do you have a better pair of shoes on than a walking boot?
Right now, I'm not going to flex on my waterproof Air Pegasus that I bought on sale at Shields, but I do have my Travis Scott's back at the hotel. So. Now, whether they're reps or not, that's to be determined. So,
well, in true Uncle Mark tribute, I am wearing at least one shoe of Air Jordan today. So, Uncle Mark Schmidt, my dear brother, he's there with my mother, Joe Mama, my nephew, Davis, my sister-in-law, Mel, as we're on the stream here. Hail Varsity YouTube can see they are live downtown Manhattan. And they are there for the Yanks and Rangers. Uncle Mark and the fam, you guys have a good trip back. Thank you for your report.
Sounds great. Just remember, I called Rangers in 5 for the World Series, which came out to be true.
Yes, that is true.
So we're going to go tomorrow. We're going to go Rangers win Game 1, 7-3. Yankees are going to come back in the nightcap, 12-2.
Okay, you must know the starting pitching. You've researched it for Game 2, and you are walking right by scores, of course, to place a bet.
You're going to see some fireworks and some home runs tomorrow. So.
All right, be good. Get a dog. Say hi to Letty Briscoe for me. Appreciate you.
All right, we'll see you guys. Take care.
There he is. Uncle Mark, he is live down in Manhattan. He was actually doing the Captain America skyscraper tour. If you're watching on the stream, Hail Varsity YouTube, Hail Varsity Radio, Twitter, it was pretty awesome to get that backdrop. And he has the coolest trips, man. And nephew Davis, man, got to go to Monument Park and check out. He's checking out 3 Yankees games.
See, we got to get Mark over to Jabba's restaurant outside Yankee Stadium. Just have him go.
American whiskey?
Yes. Hey, I am Chris Schmidt's brother. Just got to walk in and say that.
Here comes the bouncer. Here comes the bouncer. Uncle Mark would show up. He'd sit down like Charlie Sheen in Major League. I look like a waiter in this. He's got the chain wallet, the tank top, and, oh, yeah, sir, we need a sport coat on you.
Hail Varsity Radio is live. Now, back to Schmitty.
Schmitty's a great guy, but he don't have a brain.
And Elijah.
You want me to speak? When I point at you, yeah.
On Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you. Hail Varsity continues. The boat show, the Prestige Worldwide Tribute continues. We are between 14 and 18 here. The pond at Indian Creek. The Indian Creek Golf Club is incredible. The Pinnacle Bank Championship is happening. And right now, I hope we're not too loud as one of the professionals is approaching the ball. But the crowd on 18 is going nuts. 17. Somebody birdied on 17, which means it's $3 birdie shots.
There's a beauty.
There's an incredible iron approach to the green.
Laid it up nicely.
Going to hit and bump and run. And that's my best Jim Nance. Sorry. Elijah Herbel, Chris Schmidt, Will Wilson. Big thanks to Uncle Mark. He checked in from Manhattan. A little bit of an audible from a rained-out Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, no, not Kansas.
Yeah, not the Little Apple, the Big Apple. Great stuff from Brian Christopherson. You're encouraged to check out the podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play for the Hail Varsity Radio podcast. Like and subscribe. Give us a rating, good, bad, or ugly. We love the feedback. Appreciate you doing that. Watch the show. You can see the video and the show live on your YouTube channel, Hail Varsity YouTube. Like and subscribe there. Twitter also always at HVarsity Radio. But just a glorious day, 74. We're literally on the water, not in the water, which is typically our chant from a golf course that has potential for waves. But how about Mr. Vaughn's today?
Yeah, 7 of 12 birdies down the stretch, and he's advanced into the weekend here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Lincoln Southwest native, he's a Creighton golfer, and now he's golfing in the weekend here at the course at Indian Creek, the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Good for him. A fantastic run down the stretch there.
Yep, and look, if you're coming tomorrow, if you're coming for the weekend, Saturday, or the championship Sunday, get yourself down the road a little bit here at Indian Creek and find your way to the Pinnacle. Check that, the Hurrdat Sports Zone. The Hurrdat Sports Zone is right to the right of 17 as you walk down the path. To the left of 17 is tented areas, seating, chairs, and the Patron Zone. So you can get grub from Jam there. And check out all the great stuff with Hurrdat Sports at Hurrdat Sports on Twitter for all the digital content and social media expertise and all that is going on with the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Emails we'll get to. We'll get to more of the comments in the stream as well. Who was telling me to keep my arms and legs inside the boat so I don't have a accident like I had when it comes to golf? That was Jeff. Nice. Jeff, can we ensure that Chris can't hang his foot out the boat? 2 boots would be bad.
It'd be funny. Are you concerned? Do you have to sunscreen your toes? Because your toes just barely hang out of that boot. You're gonna have a nasty tan line.
My left leg is still more tan than my right leg. I've done enough golfing this summer, or just pool time this summer, that.
Wouldn't they tan evenly?
They were, but I don't know, man. I try and get outside and play fetch with the German.
Okay.
And I'll take the boot off and just soak up the sun. Real quick, a reminder to get buckled up. Use your seatbelt. It saves lives. It prevents injuries only if properly worn. Make it click. A message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. 1 hour in the books. The boat show here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship 2024. Hour 2 on the way. Bill Doleman, Clausburn, Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager.
He's the pride of Fairbury, an average Joe. Bill Doleman, the professor.
I had a 6 ACT in 1967. One time I got an A and my grandma beat me for cheating.
Now with Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you at Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. It's the Friday boat show, the Friday edition here. Live at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. The boat is docked right now. We have another crowd of golf fans here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship making their way down the dock to load up. We've met some of our new best friends from Iowa that brought us some hydration fuel. We met Jude, a big Nebraska fan, asking how many wins. I said, we can't give an answer till we talk to the pride of Fairbury. Bill Doleman with us, at Bill Doleman, the professor. That's where you follow him on Twitter, at Bill Doleman. Billy D, it's good to have you, man. You've been to Indian Creek before. We're here again for the Pinnacle Bank Championship right by the Hurrdat Sports Pavilion next to the Patron Zone. But we're hunkered down here. We spoke it into existence Costanza style a year ago. We wanted to do a show on the boat. We got the generator going. So far, so good.
How much juice do we have?
We don't jinx it, man. Just don't look. Just keep talking. But Bill, yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. How are you doing? How was Denver? Let's figure that out first.
Well, no. First of all, I think people who are not on the stream need to understand exactly what it is I get to see, and it's Elijah and Schmidt on one of those big white swan pedal boats that are out on the pond together, and it's kind of cute. And it's about time that you guys got to go out and enjoy the day together. I hope the water's not
publicly
like
celebrating our love.
I've got my Ace shirt on, and Elijah's got his Gary shirt on. Ace and Gary right here, baby.
Here's some David Gates and bread in the background. So I think it's nice that you guys are out there to enjoy a wonderful day together on the pond. Just don't jump in the water like the folks at the Olympics jumping in the CNA River. I'd hate for something bad to happen to you guys and spoil such a perfect afternoon.
Well, I'm wearing a white shirt, so if I jump in the water, it's going to be a bad day for everybody here.
It's about right. We've had folks in the stream want us to take our shirt off. That is frowned upon at a golf course. That's very frowned upon when it comes to pro golf.
I'll say it, though. If somebody hits a hole-in-one here on 17, go tarps off.
No. Not going to happen. Bill, you were in Denver. How was it?
Did somebody just hit a hole-in-one?
No. Now we got you back. We hiccuped for a second. How was Denver? Go for it, Big Cat.
Well, Denver was good. I'm just glad I got out before the wrath of Dion descended upon any member of the media. I guess I would have been safe because one of the only network that I've not worked for in my career, CBS. So for whatever vendetta he has against the CBS, that was on display today. But I'm fortunate that I was able to get out there and not feel the wrath of Prime. But it's interesting. There were two reporters at the press conference today that tried to ask questions that got smacked down pretty good. And one of them was the Denver Post reporter, and that's kind of gone viral that he was not going to allow him to ask a question, and they just went back and forth. But the other was the local CBS affiliate reporter, who was just simply going to ask a question. He says, "You with CBS, I'm not talking to you." Well, that reporter, some people may remember, a guy by the name of Eric Christensen, who was a sports director out, I believe he was in Kearney, might have been in Omaha for a period of time. So a guy with some Nebraska ties, but he did not want to talk to either one of those guys. And he said, you know what CBS did, which apparently was rank him next to last amongst the Big 12 conference coaches. And it's just really kind of a strange time for Colorado football to start up their fall camp.
Let's hear Dion exactly get in on the local, not national, CBS reporter. Will, do we have that? Let's go.
That's the end of that question, I guess. Next guy.
Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler.
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, Malachi Sports.
Ain't got nothing to do with you. It's above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
All right.
Joe
Ain't got
Rigo,
nothing to
Malachi
do with
Sports.
you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I respect you. I got love for you. But what they did was foul.
I respect you, but I'm not going to let you do your job.
What they did was foul. It's either going to be incredible or horror awful for Dion and the Buffs this year. They could go 2-10 or they could go bowling. I don't know if he's got another told you so because they acted like they invented football the first 3 games of the season a year ago before it tanked.
This is just not a great start to the fall for them. And they've got a tough opener against North Dakota State, who does have a new head coach. But to have such an acrimonious start to the season with a couple of prominent media members out there. One was the Denver Post. You heard the Eric Christensen back and forth just a moment ago. And then there's the Athlon story, which I'm sure you talked about this week while I was out in Denver. That's when that came out, and that just paints a really, really ugly picture. I was actually kind of surprised that he was in the spirits that he was in at his press conference today. Now, it is his birthday, and he became a grandfather for the first time, as he pointed out. But he tried to control everything that he could, and a lot of the people who were asking questions at that press conference were more, it sounded to me like they were more, CU online reporters and not necessarily those who would work for the mainstream media, if you will. So they were more like fan sites, it sounded like, and he was very cordial to them. But that Athlon story is pretty troubling. And I'm not sure that that's one that is going to go away anytime soon. And I have a feeling maybe they have more that they want to bring to the forefront as that story progresses.
Bill Doleman's with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. Here the boat show as we're in the pond between 14 and 17. The boat is getting fired up. Mike Sauter is hunkering right next to us here on the boat. We've got some more fellas here. And it is just an incredible scene and setup.
Yeah, it's Bill with us here, though. And, Bill, you talked about Coach Prime becoming a grandpa. Do you think he's going to make the grandkids refer to him as Grandpa Prime?
Yeah, that's
probably.
The question.
I think it was Papa Prime is what I heard, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be happening.
If he has more grandkids, he can rank them least favorite to favorite like he does his children, apparently. But, Bill, on the Nebraska front, I wanted to get your take on the news and notes of the week. And I know you're pretty close. Teddy Prohaska and all the work he's put in. Just devastating news on Monday.
Yeah, that's a gut punch for anybody who has been around him and knows him. I had Teddy in a class about a year ago, I guess, and I really enjoyed having him in the classroom. He's a leader in the classroom, terrific student, great guy. I don't think I'm violating any confidence when I tell you one of the more amusing moments I've had in my teaching tenure at Nebraska. I was going into the classroom, and Barron Miles Jr. was in there as well. And there's 15, 20 kids in the class, and I get to the doorway, and there's kind of I'm really a ruckus, but they're incredulous with Teddy because he swore he could beat up a grizzly bear. And so I stood outside the classroom and I listened to this and just listening to, first of all, I really love to foster camaraderie in my classrooms. And I want, students to feel like they're friends and they can shoulder slug each other and, give good critiques with each other and enjoy the semester with they're in my classroom. But to hear them, having that dorm room conversation, when you're in college, you have dumb conversations. And I guess we still do it, in our 50s. But anyway, listening to them talk, you could not beat up a grizzly bear. I could beat up a grizzly bear. You couldn't beat up a grizzly bear. But he's a great guy. And I believe that he's a terrific writer too. I think he's got a career in the media. There are a lot of former Huskers that find their way onto the airwaves somehow, some way, somewhere. And Teddy, like I said, he's an excellent writer. I think that he would be a terrific person to have on the microphone, be it the Average Joe Sports Show or Hail Varsity Radio or somewhere. He has the type of personality that people will enjoy hearing from. I'm sick that it happened again. I don't know if he'll be able to come back. After 4 major surgeries now. But I really, really like the guy, and I have a feeling he's going to, do what he can to have some leadership on this year's team.
Bill, I want to go back to the Grizzly comment, and what was Teddy's reasoning? I'm taller than the grizzly bear. My reach is better.
Yeah, he said he was faster.
Okay.
Grizzly bears
speed.
Slow.
Grizzlies are not slow.
They're quick.
They're slow comparatively to other bears, but they're not slow.
Look, it's one of the more memorable moments of my time in the classroom, and it was the kind of conversation that I enjoyed hearing them give each other, some grief and tell them he couldn't get. It was funny. It was just a really funny moment, and that gives you an idea of the kind of guy and the kind of personality he has and why he would be so good on the mic.
It's Bill Doleman with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. And, Bill, to bring it back to football, the left tackle spot, it's likely going to be Turner Corcoran in that left tackle spot. Gunnar Gatula is also getting a run out there. With the Teddy injury, your concern level, your panic level with that left tackle spot becomes what? Especially considering the importance of left tackle and pass protection and protecting your freshman quarterback.
Well, I was, the DEFCON was the first thing that came to my mind, too, and it's like DEFCON 65 because wasn't that Teddy's number? That becomes the concern for the entire season now. I think.
Are we going tarps off?
I think Nebraska had a. Did we get a hole in one?
No, but people are going tarps off nonetheless.
They're taking their shirts off. Some guy took his shirt off and is still wearing a sweater. Dear Lord. It's a furry mammal.
I think that there was a strength to the offensive line in that if they stay healthy, they had 10 guys that could man those positions, the first 2 units, and then filter in some young players that could get some quality time. But now when it's the left tackle spot and you don't have a lot of depth there, you're moving Corcoran around. I think that's a bit of a concern. The good news is I think, you go back to the 4-game rules that Gunnar Gatula was, we talked about him a lot last year. Lincoln guy that they were really impressed with. So he does have some experience. Now, here's the question, though. You've got Xander Rugeroli, who was an offensive tackle in Las Vegas. Prominent program, kind of a guy that Nebraska snuck in under the radar in the recruiting season. Has he become somebody? I think that the scouting report on him is that he has, pro potential at left tackle if he grows into the position. What about Grant Bricks? Same thing. Might be an athletic left tackle, but may not have necessarily the body that they look for in the NFL. But is Bricks and Rugeroli now in position to where instead of 4 games, it's going to be all 14 games heading into the playoffs for the Huskers?
Bill, I just got to say, man, a lot of people don't know you were back in the Salt Dogs broadcast booth the other night, and you didn't skip a beat. You still got it, man.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I wasn't in there very long. That game went 1 hour and 53 minutes, and I don't know, Connor Clark needs to look this up. It may have been an historic night at Haymarket Park because this is stunning. The 2 pitchers both pitched complete games. It was a 1-0 game. And there was never a full count in the entire game. How many times in baseball history, has there ever been a game without a 3-2 pitch?
Never.
I mean, seriously, that might have been the first time in baseball history without a 3-2 count.
Well, if I'm a home plate umpire and I have someplace to be,
Elijah's saying, hold your horses.
No such thing as a ball in games like that.
Hold your horses there.
Yeah, we were done in 1 hour 53, but thank you for the nice words there, Will.
You made reverse happy hour. I love it.
Well, that was Bark at the Park. Did Scooby make an appearance in the booth?
Shaggy?
Shaggy, sorry. Wrong cartoon dog.
Bill was in Denver getting Scooby snacks. Shaggy is the dog.
I had a Scooby, but he's long gone. No, Shaggy was pissed that his Glock was on the table when I got home. He was not happy with me. Message delivered. I didn't know it was Bark in the Park, otherwise I would have taken him, and he found out about it.
I took all 3 of mine and left them, and they found their way home, which is what's sad. Bill Doleman's with us. Bill, real quick on the recruiting front, you have Mozee making his flip today from Oregon to Nebraska, big-time wideout from Kansas City. I know you're measured when it comes to recruiting, but you got to love it if you're the Big Red.
Well, I'm wondering are they going to hire David Sanders' dad for some type of analyst position? Now the coaching staffs have an unlimited size. I mean, let's just keep hiring parents of 5-star recruits and putting them on the payroll to get them to come in. His dad's an accomplished coach. He's been in college football before and comes from a big program in Kansas City. So you get it. But it sure kind of reminds one of Ed Manning getting hired by Larry Brown and bringing Danny Manning in to lead them to the championship in 1988. But look, that's a great pickup. By all accounts, he was coveted by a lot of places. And when you're, stealing somebody from the University of Oregon, like a year ago you took him from Georgia, that says a lot about what Nebraska can do in terms of getting their messaging out on the recruiting trail.
Bill, we'll check in with you. We'll drop an Average Joe pod this weekend. Thanks for jumping in with us.
All right, guys, keep those legs going.
All right. Bill Doleman with us here. A topless boat ride going on here at Hale Varsity.
And now, back to Hale Varsity Radio.
Back with you at Hale Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, We've got Brandon and his bros. I told you it was a topless boat ride. Brandon and his guys are getting a little sun out here as we're in the pond between the Patron Zone, the Hurrdat Pavilion, number 14, as the Pinnacle Bank Championship continues here on Friday here at Indian Creek Golf Club. And we're right nestled between, this pond is located between 14 and 17. Big thanks to Bill Doleman. We may have a conflict with Clausburn, but stay tuned. We're going to effort Clausburn at 5:40. Can get the podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play for Hail Varsity Radio. Like and subscribe. Give us a rating, good, bad, or ugly. We appreciate it. You can watch the show and do so on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel or just on Twitter at HVarsity Radio. So we brought up the idea of, some sort of, Hurrdat or Hail Varsity body paint next year when we do the second annual boat show.
You and me?
Yeah. Not you and me, but Brandon and his buddies. But I was talking about Grizzly Adams, and now I know his name is Brandon. He's going to have to do a little manscaping up top because, that's like the rough here.
Unfortunately,
thick.
We are not sponsored, unfortunately, so we cannot give the company that sponsors every podcast, Manscaped, not sponsored.
No. Manscaped is just a general term.
I'm just saying I wish we could get the shout out there for a sponsorship. So Manscaped, if you're listening,
you're welcome.
We had a great opportunity for you today. You missed out.
We'll get to some emails. Do we have more comments in the stream? We'll get there. Recruiting front is happening. We'll see if Nebraska can get things flipped around. So we brought this up with Brian Christopherson a little bit earlier in the show, when we talk about wide receiver tallies and numbers. And does Nebraska, 3.5 500-yard receivers, 3.5 over under, what's the number? And let's talk about Malachi Coleman. Let's talk about Malachi going into year 2. Malachi's impact very well felt in the Northwestern game on that option pass. He got deep. Reports earlier from last Saturday where Malachi missed a block, got chewed out, and then blocked his butt off the rest of practice. This is a really important season because he's been talented enough physically from a speed standpoint to see the field early. He's also somebody that will get after it with his size downfield, be able to block downfield and block on the edge for his mates. You've got a crowded wide receiver room, Elijah and Will. You have a crowded wide receiver room. They continue to bring in talent. You've got Ja'Cory Barney this year. You've got Lloyd last year. You've got 2 upperclassmen you brought in to kind of help bring that room together. So it's being put together the right way with upperclassmen so you're not reliant on freshmen before they're ready. All that being said, you're now into year 2 with more than a cup of coffee in Big Ten play. What do you do this year if you're Malachi Coleman? All the talent in the world to explode and be a guy that can be a difference maker, be a contributor this season. And it'd be really cool if you're a Malachi Coleman fan, and I know there's a lot of you, to see him gain more consistency, which is common year 1 to year 2, that jump, but also be a threat with somebody that can be that 500-yard wide receiver.
Well, the question with Malachi, I think, going into this season is where is an area within this offense where you can differentiate yourself? And that's what I worry about with Malachi getting lost in a crowded wide receiver room. Because you've got speed. You got guys like Jalen Lloyd. We saw Ja'Cory Barney in the spring game, the speed that he brought. 2 guys that, if you're looking to take the top off the defense, might be the first guys you're bringing out there. You have size in especially Banks. Jamal Banks, with his size, is a guy that if you're looking for a big-bodied receiver to go box out a defensive back and go get a jump ball, that's probably who you're going to. And then you have Nayor, who is that kind of hybrid between the two, the bigger body with some speed. Where does Malachi Coleman fit into that conversation is the question that I have as you look at this season. Like, he hasn't found himself a role where he can differentiate himself. I think this is the year where he has to do it. That's the question to me is, can he find a role? Can he establish a role within this offense that none of the other wide receivers currently have? And as I look at it right now, I think my answer is no. But with that being said, we've heard it a lot, players, coaches, a whole bunch of people. The biggest jump you'll make in college football is between year 1 and year 2. Malachi Coleman goes into year 2. What kind of jump can he make? And what kind of role can he cut out for himself within this offense? Can he differentiate himself in terms of role from all the other pass-catching options that you have?
What do you see for Malachi? Malachi is a guy that can get deep. We know that. Malachi is a guy that can also turn and burn, right, in that short yardage. I think there's enough short burst for him. It doesn't take him real long to get up to top speed. And, I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4". He's big. He's physical. So he's not just an outside guy. Throw him in the slot, let him go to work on some smaller defensive backs or safeties, or let him be quicker than those guys. I mean, it's really a tip of the iceberg situation for him because of that speed and athleticism. I mean, and he's a guy that, what was the question? All right, can he be a wide out? Do you want him coming off the edge on third down as a pass rush guy like he did at East his junior season? I mean, what a junior season he had. You know, it was kind of a contest between Nebraska and Colorado, and he picked the Big Red, which was good for a lot of Nebraska fans. But, yeah, how does he help out? Gorgeous shot out of the sand there on 14. Beautifully measured by a player here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. I saw ball and said squirrel, but I just saw somebody actually hit it clean out of the sand and hit it. Fellas, take care. Appreciate you. You have a good one, fellas.
Oh, somebody lost their sunglasses.
There we go. We will round up the sunglasses. Are they Oakley's? They may be mine.
You're wearing yours.
I know, I'm kidding. Sorry. I had to ask the question. Anywho.
Back to business.
No, Malachi's a guy that you don't have to want to depend on, but it'd be really cool if he kind of broke through and became another option. Clearly, it's going to be Banks and Nayor. All right. Bonner seems to be that 3 wide receiver set where he's the dude right now in the slot with that similar size and speed component. They want to use him a lot, kind of like a Debo role or the other kid that they had at South Carolina when Satterfield was there, where there's jet sweeps, or they just mismatch him. And then I really love the fact that they're going to have a healthy Fedoni to just wear teams out over the middle at tight end.
Well, and this kind of gets back to my point of just there's so many options in that wide receiver room that all have something that they do well. Like Fedoni is going to be that big body that goes over the middle of the field. You have Banks, who is going to be your sure hand, big body, box a guy out. Nair with that speed getting up the sideline. Lloyd going deep. I mean, that is just my concern, is that if Malachi Coleman can't differentiate himself with all the talent in the room, he's going to get left behind. That's my concern whenever you look at Malachi Coleman. And with all the talent, you hope that doesn't happen.
And it's not just a Malachi thing. That's a real situation with preaching competition, like Rule does.
Yeah, and I think Malachi is just the example we're bringing up here. Yeah. I don't mean to single out Malachi.
No, and you're not.
That's the reality of having a 140, 150-man roster, is there is competition everywhere. It's kind of like whenever the big fish in the small pond graduates to a big pond with a lot of other big fish. Like, you got to find something that's going to differentiate yourself within that, and we haven't seen that from Malachi just yet. We've seen the athletic potential. Can he put it together, and can he find himself a role within this offense? Can he develop a rapport with Dylan Raiola? All questions that we have surrounding Malachi, but I think it's pretty clear it's going to be a big fall for Malachi Coleman to differentiate himself, because you worry, again, about him getting lost in the shuffle in that wide receiver room, lost in the competition. This is a guy who Matt Rule and staff look to make a position switch with somewhere down the road if he can't get involved in the offense this year. This is a guy you worry about hitting the transfer portal if you can't get him involved in the offense this year. It's a lot of questions for the coaching staff. How do you get him involved? But also questions for Malachi. How do you differentiate yourself and find yourself a role within this offense, because they can't keep you off the field?
You have to be a guy that gets yourself involved if you're Malachi Coleman. Find a role, do what they ask, do it well, be trustworthy. 489-1240. Will, you want to jump in here, Big Cat?
You guys are making good points. It's almost like, if that happens, though, it's kind of a crappy feeling, because, like you said, we worked hard to get him. He's super athletic. And, wasn't he recruited as an athlete, if I remember right?
I think it was wide out.
Was it?
I mean,
okay.
There was discussion about the defensive side of the ball. And the guy missed spring with a shoulder, okay? and the guy didn't early enroll, I don't believe. Was he doing track? So,
yeah, he was.
I mean, there's just other guys that have had more time on campus with Rule and company. Now, I'll say this, and I saw it firsthand. Long story short, Rule was there with a lot of his staff, and they were there to see one dude and his family, and that was Malachi Coleman. This was before signing day. This was Rule's first year. I was downtown with the bunny, and we were going to a movie. And, across the way at a bar, this is before Malachi, I think, went to Hawaii for the All-Star game.
Polynesian Bowl,
for the Polynesian Bowl. And, I mean, it is Rule. It is FaceTime with Malachi and his folks. It is Rule and his staff. They're putting the work in. And it's sincere work, but they're putting the work in with a kid that's going off to the Polynesian Bowl that's just down A Street. So they want him. They've got a plan for him. He's just got to stay healthy and then just, be coachable. 489-1240. We'll see if Clausburn is... In all seriousness, Claus had a vet emergency, and that's not Claus having to go to the vet. That's his sweet pup, so I hope things are okay. Tiger Shark Diver checks in and weighs in on Ja'Cory Barney because that's a dude that folks are really excited about. Hopefully Barney can hold up at his weight in the Big Ten.
I think the other Dave also makes a very good point here on Malachi, asking who besides Malachi has a bigger floor-to-ceiling differential. I agree with Dave 100%.
That's 1,000% the take.
If he buys in, finds himself role within this offense, could be a breakthrough player, as Dave says. Could be a guy that could lead your team in receiving if you do breakthrough and because of the things that he can do from an athletic point of view, the potential that he has there. If he breaks out and has the season we expect from him, could be your leading receiver. On the flip side, if he doesn't buy in, there's so much talent in that room, could be a guy that barely sees the field. I agree with what Dave says. It's pulled up on the stream. I agree with that 100% when it comes to what's at stake for Malachi this year.
So the good news, if you're a Nebraska fan, is you want a home state kid to thrive and be a productive member of the offense. The reality is you don't have to have the home state kid thrive and be productive because your room is deeper than just one guy.
Yeah.
We'll see if Clausburn's in. We're doing the boat show a Friday here at Pinnacle Bank Championship.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
So Claus is at the vet. We are thinking of him. Hopefully it's not uber serious for Claus's pup. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. The boat is docked here just outside the Hurrdat Sports Pavilion. If you're making your way to the Pinnacle Bank Championship for Saturday or Sunday, do the boat ride, man. It is awesome. It's incredible. We've had a lot of folks who have checked the show out over the years come by, and some new friends from Iowa, from Omaha, from different parts. Come on in and relax and sit down and enjoy the ride. Elijah did mention with one of our topless buddies here, male,
unfortunately,
Cannonball, and Captain Kyle, the boat driver, Mr. Motorboater, if you will, was he
never say that.
No, he turned. Captain Kyle is 10-2. In the captain's chair, driving the boat like Pirate Leach down in Key West. It was cool. It was seen. And he turns around the left shoulder, takes his glasses, lowers them down to the bridge of his nose, and shoots a death look at somebody who may have had too much Morgan and Coke. And you throw out the suggested topic of cannonballs in the pond between 14 and 17 at a pro golf event.
Yeah, he had murder in his eyes whenever he looked
did.
at me.
That was a look. Captain Kyle ain't messing around. So who's had a worse day? We played the Deion Sanders cut for you earlier. It's Prime versus CBS. I don't know that the Big 12 has a whole lot of stuff going on with CBS this year. I could be wrong. But that's one option. Coach Prime or Elijah Herbel, who golfed this morning at 8 a.m., and I'm just going to, listen, I've had these days too.
This is every day.
You shot a 130 today on 18.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's an honest score. And
let me lay it out. It's
but the front nine you had. You scored a 10 on 3 separate holes.
And that's why I call it a more than respectable 130. Because if I get normal scores on those 3 holes.
If you triple bogey even.
Yeah. Well, one was, what's 7?
A lot.
Yeah. That's 6 is what? Sextuple bogey? Quadruple, pint. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You scored a 10 on a par 3.
I scored a 10 on a par 3. And all I'm saying is, like, I'm shooting.
Were you having breakfast beers?
I am probably shooting just below 120, like a nice 115. If I don't score those, that's more than respectable for me.
Our handicap is right around that 30-stroke number.
Yeah. Well,
legit.
Mine is probably higher. But, yeah, par 3, I think this was number 7. Tee shot, errant.
Sure. You counted everything.
Oh, absolutely.
There was no OJ golf going on.
First tee shot, errant, couldn't find it. So I took a drop. Second shot, third stroke, finds an evergreen tree. Very, very thick.
Should have been there.
Yeah, it was on the backside of the green, unfortunately. Very, very thick evergreen tree. Couldn't find my ball in there. So now we're on to...
The one tree this damn storm should have taken out.
Now we're on to stroke 5, outside the tree. Sky it over the green into a bunker.
You also lost your wedge, though, right?
We're getting there. We're getting there. That was later in the story. I had my wedge at this point, which is unfortunate.
Tell me you didn't.
Yeah. No, because then I'm in the sand, and now we're on to stroke 6. And it took me a couple strokes to get out of the sand. Eventually got it up and down for 10. But that was rough. That was a rough one. I think it was the next hole, actually. No, it was 10. It was on 10. Lost the old wedge, the classic bring your wedge and your putter to the green, leave the wedge behind. So I was playing without a wedge for a few holes. I was playing fine, to be honest, in the back 9. It wasn't as good as it could have been, considering I didn't have a wedge. But it was the front 9 that really killed me. You can't have 3 double-digit holes on any round of golf and expect to score well. So that's why I call it a more than respectable 130, because if you eliminate those 3 holes, even if I'm double bogey on all those holes, I think I'm at a 115, 116, which for me is solid. That's not a bad round of golf. I've had a whole lot worse than those.
I'm going to side with Dion had a worse day. Coach Prime versus Elijah. 130's bad. A 10 on a par 3 is god-awful.
Okay.
But
understandable.
You are not being divisive. You are not burying yourself if you don't go 8-5 this year. Prime just did, and he's going to start pissing off the national media and throwing hand grenades. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if he gets whacked at Colorado or not. I mean, this thing is either going to be great or terrible in Buffland. I know he comes to town, but he had to manufacture bullcrap arrows at Matt Rule a year ago. That's remembered by a lot of Nebraska fans. It's remembered by Lars Anderson, part of the national media. So folks just roll their eyes at Prime, and we'll see if they're just building or truly were just front runners a year ago and it all implodes. Josh checks in the stream, and we invite you to watch the show.
He just really rubs my nose in it.
You can see the backdrop here as we're on the pond between 14 and 17 here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Josh says, I golf once every 3 years and shoot a 90 at Tatanka. Josh, you're a natural athlete. You're good at golf. Good on you, brother. I've broke 90 2 or 3 times in my life. But where is Tatanka? I've heard of it. I hear it's incredible. Will, can you help me out here? Will,
you're a resident golfer.
Yeah, you're a golfer, Will. You play at a really cool club in Lincoln, a private club that it'd be really fun to be invited to sometime, Will, if you're at this private club and you need some friends. But I'm done begging.
Will, haven't you golfed with some big-name basketball coaches?
Yeah.
No, I never have. And you talk about the private club. I'm no longer, because I turned 25, so I'm off my parents' membership.
No.
Yeah, so
he gets to join us in the public courses now.
Pioneer National it is.
So Will has gone from There's no gambling in Bushwood to Mom and Dad, can you sneak me in?
Yeah.
Mom and Dad are going to shake you down for a green fee, for the guest fee.
Oh, yeah. It's going to happen, too. Yeah, because Mom's on the board, so she ain't breaking any rules.
Oh, dude.
No.
Yeah, I got a bad, guys, so...
Well,
yeah.
she can't break any rules, but doesn't she have any known exploitable loopholes?
Not that she wants to exploit, no.
I get it. She loves you, but not that much.
By the way...
Weigh in on the 10 on a 3 here, Will.
Oh, that is brutal. And Elijah...
That's cigarette and blindfold bad.
That is terrible. And I feel bad for you because I don't think I ever want to play with you. Like, I don't think I could do it.
Wow, that's kind of uppity. Dude, you just got kicked out of the old private club. You're going to be looking for love.
Actually, you know what, Elijah? I want to go to the range with you. I think I can maybe work with you a little bit.
Probably.
Shock collar.
I go to
that's his sick treatment.
I actually have a private golf coach working on my game. It's called YouTube. So I go there, and the problem is...
I thought it was called Johnny Walker.
That too.
No. No, the problem is like these YouTube professionals, they get one thing right in my swing, and then another thing breaks because I've changed something, and it's no good. If I can just consistently get some, like, solid... It doesn't have to be great, just solid ball striking where it goes towards the hole, that'd be great. That would be great. But the wheels don't fall off.
We got to give a shout-out here, you and your high-end computer. There we go. Arlo checks in, signing off. Arlo, thanks for tuning in, brother. Have a great weekend, GBR. What a great golf course to play. Try Indian Trails in Beamer. I hear that.
Never played.
Didn't have to check that out. We'll wind down a Friday edition, the Boat Show, here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship with Hail Varsity Radio.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, the Boat Show Friday here at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. Hurrdat Sports Pavilion is right in front of the dock. You are going to take tomorrow when you make your way to the Pinnacle Bank Championship for Saturday and then Championship Sunday. Jump on the boat. It is just incredible. It is absolutely pleasant. Breeze, beautiful sun, 70s on the water near the Patron Zone. It's been a good time. Big thanks to Bill Doleman, Brian Christopherson with us here on a Friday edition. Tomorrow morning, the weekend edition commences 7:45 sharp. Myself, Mark Cranack, Elijah Herbel. Big shout out to Will Wilson being an Iron Man all week long.
Yeah, we got to get Will Wilson on the boat tomorrow.
Yeah?
Yeah. Will you in?
No, I'm busy tomorrow. Got to move.
We get you VIP.
Will's subtly in that tone saying, "You a-holes made me work the last 2 days, so I'm moving tomorrow on my half day off when I'm not at the bar bartending."
No, it's all good. You guys look like you're having a great time. By the way,
you look miserable back in studio.
Well, thanks.
And I'm not piling on the physical
I know you're
appearance.
not, because I know it's kind of true. But Brennan,
had a long week.
Brennan had one of the best comments of the day when you guys were talking.
Brennan's
about,
incredible.
When you guys
Black Hills Brennan.
You were talking about the guy wanted to jump in the pool, and I mean, the greatest quote ever from Happy Gilmore. Yeah.
Geez, people, this is not a rock concert. Go back to your shanties.
This is golf. You know what I saw, Chip? I saw two big old fat bikers having sex in the woods. I had to hit the ball off Frankenstein's bleeping foot.
That's such a good movie.
Oh, it's so good. And what's even better is when Shooter posts how it started, how it's going. It's got a picture of Shooter making a putt, and then it's got a picture of Shooter's mugshot. Just blasted on whatever substance he was on.
Who had the worst
booze and whatever?
Who had the worst mugshot? Was it Shooter or was it Justin Timberlake?
No, dude, it was Tiger.
Oh, Tiger.
Tiger's mugshots and all time. That right after Scotty got popped for saying no to the rent-a-cop.
Right.
They had four, which they had Tiger. Of course, they had Shooter, and Shooter posted all four of them like the Hall of Fame, the new Hall of Fame,
the Wall of Fame,
the Wall of Fame. And then I think the fourth might have been John. Has John Daly been arrested? Probably.
I'm sure. At some point.
I think you guys need to get Shooter on the show.
I'd love to do that. Shooter.
I don't think it'd be that hard.
No, I know. We got to work on that. We got to work on Shooter.
We can go for Sandler, too.
Sure, why not?
Let's invite him for a Husker game. Yeah. First red beers on me.
While I'm at it, we can just get the wish list going. Let's get a Ouija board out. We'll grab Johnny Carson while we're at it. Pirate could have hooked us up with probably half of these people.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Bless his soul.
Will, before we get out of here, I do promise I'm going to find a way to get you those Topgolf vouchers. Get you some cheaper rounds at Topgolf.
They are on eBay right now.
I'm going to pull the listing down.
That's just a dirty tease. Come find us tomorrow, though. Weekend edition, 7:45. Mark Cranack, Elijah Herbel, myself, Chris Schmidt. Love you, Will Wilson, for sitting in. And thank you, listeners and streamers, and all of you in the stream on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. Really appreciate you, all of you on YouTube, and the Twitter handle as well. Big thanks to the captain here with the boat show. Back tomorrow at 7:45.